He's got it, wants to throw. Wentz looks, pressure comes. Wentz hit, sack, back inside the 20. Aiden Hutchinson, that's number 2.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Big D Pod, where we talk all things Detroit sports. I'm actually so glad we just started recording so I can stop hearing you sing in Discord. But Benji, what's going on? How we doing?
I'm doing great, just having a great day, honestly, man.
Great day.
Out
we got
here
a little
enjoying.
early recording today. First time. Usually it's either mid-afternoon or like 10 o'clock. So that's cool. We talking Pistons. We talking Red Wings. We talking Lions. And we talking the NFL slate, baby. But first, some quick, exciting Tiger news. The Tigers hired Jason Benetti as their play-by-play announcer, previously tenured by the White Sox. But holy crap, am I excited. I've been listening to some of his calls all morning once I heard the news, and I'm so excited to have someone else in there. Literally, it could have been a raccoon they put in there, and I would have been excited.
True.
But he's going to be awesome, and I'm excited. Dude, let's just jump right into the NFL picks.
Jump right into the NFL picks?
NFL Pick'ems, baby. Week 10, pulling up the the slate real quick as you're on your screen now.
So right now, the record for the NFL picks for the last 2 weeks, I am 17-13 in my picks. It's all right. Could be better. And Caleb is 20-10. He's got me by 3 now. He's been killing me lately.
Dude,
I don't know. It's going to change this week.
Depends on how many different picks we have this week. All right.
I guarantee you we have some different ones.
Run me through the slate. I got weird this week. I got freaky. Run me through it.
So first game tonight, Thursday night football. We got the Panthers versus the Chicago Bears.
I took my team, the Panthers. I'm scared, but I think their defense is better than the Bears. And I trust Bryce to have a better week than he did last week, which is almost impossible to have a worse one. But I think that the Panthers realize that they need to control the game more than letting Bryce Young do his thing. They need more control from the OC to help them on their offensive side. I think last week they realized that. And bonus, I hate the Bears. Give me the Panthers. What about you?
Yeah. I also took the Panthers for the third
week
in a row. Third week in a row, we've both taken the Panthers. The most ridiculous thing ever. They hadn't won a game when we started this podcast. But, I took the Panthers. I think Bryce Young will have a better week. And, the Bears suck. So, hate the Bears.
Consensus?
All right.
Panthers.
Next game on the slate. Game of the week, Indianapolis Colts versus the New England Patriots.
I forgot we had different.
In Germany.
One second. Yes.
What's your pick?
So you said New England Patriots, but I have them listed second because they're the home team. Technically. Colts, Patriots, 9:30 in Frankfurt. I have the Patriots here. I think they just find a way. The Colts have been reliant on their running backs, and I think Bill knows that, preparing for the running backs abuse. Make Minshew beat you. He only won last week because of Bryce Young's mistakes. If you look at his stats, he didn't do the great. However, the Germans have a history of liking mustaches like Minshew's.
Oh, God.
But I'm still rocking the Patriots.
All right, then.
Lock it in.
I have...
right picking Gardner Minshew.
I have the Indianapolis Colts
You're
in
a
this
Nazi.
game. I am part German.
Yeah, we both are. Isn't that crazy? We're related.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
Patriots have to beat the Colts. If not, World War III will happen.
Oh, God.
It's basically U.S.
Can I take
basically
Can I
World
switch
War
my
II
pick?
Patriots versus Gardner Minshew and his regime.
No, but I took the Colts in this game. I think they're a better defensive team than the
100%.
Patriots. I really do. And the Patriots have nobody. Have you seen their wide receiver core? How are they going to move the ball on the field? The only person they have is Ramondre Stevenson.
And TikTok boy.
Is TikTok boy even there?
The GOAT.
He's with the Patriots?
Believe so.
Has he played this season?
I don't know. That's a great question. All right, next game.
I don't feel. All right, next game we got on the slate. We got the Green Bay Packers at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Packers at Steelers. Give me the Steelers. The Steelers beat the Titans last week on Thursday Night Football, so they've had a lot of time to prepare. The Packers look very, very bad right now, besides last week when over the Rams, which kind of sucked. But the Rams didn't even have a quarterback last week. They had this dude named Ripien. I don't even know who that is. But he played like a flag football team quarterback. And also, I'm just never going to pick the Packers just to have them lose and have me lose. Like, why would I ever do that? The Packers, I hate the Packers, and yeah, Steelers. Rematch of Super Bowl 2014? I don't know.
Sure. I don't remember.
Something like that.
I took the Steelers also in this game. Yeah, pretty much I'm just going to fade the Packers every week. There's no way that I'm not, there's no way I can pick the Packers.
Exactly. Also, last week, Juju had 6 catches for 51 yards. So, he's very well on the team.
He's very well on the team.
This receiver core is insane. Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, Jalen Reagor, Mike Gesicki, Hunter Henry. Like, this team is, like, good. Like, top 5 good. Like, do I want this offense or do I want the Eagles offense? It's I think it's a toss-up.
I want the Broncos offense.
Consensus, we take the Broncos. Next pick.
We got the Saints at the Minnesota Vikings.
Sorry, you totally cut out there. What did you say?
Saints versus the Vikings.
Saints Vikings. This week, I took the Vikings because how could you not pick the Vikings at home after last week? Imagine Josh Dobbs with a playbook. Actually, he might be worse. Anyway, Kevin O'Connell was impressed. I'm impressed. Give me Dobbs and the Vikings. Also, isn't Jay Jettas, he's reactivated, but I don't know how he's going to get many.
He's reactivated, but he is not playing this week.
Okay. That wasn't a factor in my decision. The only problem is Taysom Hill might take too much Percocet before the game and go absolutely stupid and win the Saints the game anyways. I don't want that, except for my fantasy team because I have Taysom Hill. But that doesn't matter. Vikings.
I actually have Minnesota in this game too. Yeah, I think Josh Dobbs is a very underrated quarterback. I've liked Josh Dobbs for a while now. Definitely this year. Still can't believe Arizona traded away their starting quarterback at the time.
Kyler's back.
But Kyler is back. Picked him up in fantasy this week. Because I ain't starting Herbo versus the Lions. It won't happen.
So that means you're picking the Cardinals this week.
But yeah, I got the Vikings over the Saints.
All right, what's
at home. Texans versus Bengals.
Texans versus Bengals. Now this one's actually harder than you think. But I'm taking the Bengals. Teams won 4 straight. I think it'll be 5. This is a tough opponent. However, they just beat the Cardinals, which aren't. Then they beat the Seahawks, then the 49ers, and they just beat the Bills. So those are some of the toughest teams in the whole league. They just beat them. So I don't think the Texans are any better than any of those teams. And Stroud is due to regress, and I definitely have not been saying that every single week.
Yeah, no. I also took the Bengals in this game. I don't think Stroud can put up the performance again that he put up last week, because if he does, give him the MVP already. But yeah, I got the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow's been playing very well. I think he's fully back from his injury from the first 4 weeks when he was struggling. I think this Bengals team is going to be a huge playoff Super Bowl contender again this year.
I agree.
So yeah, I got the Bengals over the Texans.
Sweet. Me too.
Different pick next so game.
I think one different
so
far? Okay.
One different pick so far. Next game. I think this is going to be a very good game. Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Game. This actually might be the game of the week.
I think it might be, actually. Who you taking?
Who you got?
Who you taking?
Oh, you want me to
go first?
I have the Cleveland Browns in this game.
Can we get a different pick or what?
I took the Cleveland Browns in this game. I think their defense is just very good. I think the Browns know how to handle Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I think Cleveland takes this one and snaps this Ravens onslaught of their last two opponents. What you got?
I have the Cleveland Browns, and it might be my worst pick of the slate. However, if out there is a defense that can stop the Ravens, it's the 49ers. Then it's the Cowboys. Then it's actually the Ravens defense. And then it's the Browns defense. Yeah, Lamar still haunts me, but I got to stand up for myself. Plain and simple. I want them to lose despite their defense has only given up 10 touchdowns this year. Not gambling guidance. Don't take... Yeah, that's real. 10 touchdowns. It's week 10, by the way. So.
Oh.
The fewest by any defense. Also, you are cutting out so bad. I really hope this recording is not messed up.
Okay. Yeah, so next game.
We
got the Titans.
I thought it was going to be different.
Yeah, so did I. I honestly thought I thought the Browns was going to be different. I was going off of the defense, and yeah.
So the
next
Browns
game,
have the
though.
best defense in the league. You know who has the second best defense in the league?
Baltimore.
Pretty sure it's the Ravens.
It's going to be a very high-scoring game.
Honestly, it could be.
Smack the over, people. But yeah. So next game, we got the Titans versus the Bucks.
I picked the Tennessee Titans here. I know it's in Tampa. I pick the Bucks, I feel like, every week, thinking it's the 2020 Bucks, but it's not. I'm brainwashed into thinking they're a top 10 defense when really they're 29th. They are 9th in run defense, though, versus the Titans, so that could be a factor. But I just can't bet on the Bucks again. I just can't. It's Baker Mayfield, for God's sakes. What was I doing? Taking the Titans. Lock it in.
Well, we finally have a different pick, because I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this game, beating the Tennessee Titans. I think that Bucs defense has shown spots of playing really well this year, and I think they will play well against the rookie quarterback. So yeah, I think the Bucs win this game against the Titans and onslaught in Tampa Bay.
Wow. Okay, that's a take. All right. You just want to lose by even more this week. I see.
Exactly. That's my goal. Next game, San Francisco 49ers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1 p.m. game in Jacksonville. This one's tough. This one's very tough. I'm taking the 49ers. Every stat, streak, advantage, Instagram graphic, atom on this world, piece of matter, the smallest living amoeba says take the Jags. To that, I simply say, no. The Jags have won 5 straight against youth flag football teams. The 49ers have lost 3 straight versus absolute behemoths, so it's bounce back week. This may be a stupid pick, and this may be really dumb, but so is Trevor's hair. Give me the Niners.
I actually have Trevor Lawrence and the Jags beating the 49ers this week. I really like this Jags offense. I really like how they're not giving Calvin Ridley the ball.
I don't. Rip my fantasy team.
Good. It's fine. I'm like 2-9 right now, whatever. Or 2-7. But we don't need to talk about that.
My blood's a boil.
But yeah, I got the Jags. I got the Jags versus the 49ers. Taking the Jags. I love Trevor Lawrence. Travis Etienne carrying my fantasy teams. So, yeah. Go Jags!
Go Jags, he says. Next game.
We got the Atlanta Falcons at the Arizona Cardinals.
What in the AAA is going on in this game?
I would love to hear your thoughts.
In the desert against the Cardinals. It's a 4:05 game. I actually have the Cardinals. Kyler's finally logged off Call of Duty and back onto Madden. It's good news for a struggling team. Hopefully he found Huddle in there somewhere so he can watch some film. In the desert this week, Kyler's back against a meme team. It has to be the Cardinals. It definitely doesn't, but I'm going to sound convincing enough to where it is. Got to be the Cardinals. Arthur Smith shaved his mustache for good luck. Okay, bud. If I lose to a bare lip, I will quit this podcast.
Yeah, so I have the Cardinals in this game too.
I
think Kyler's gonna come back, get a masterclass going, and destroy this Falcons team that does not know how to utilize a single player on their team. You know their team. You got Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. You know what they did? Ran an end around with Jonnu Smith in the red zone.
Did they score on
this Falcons team does not know. This Falcons team does not know how to utilize their star players.
Dude, they're just
they bench Bijan. They block Kyle Pitts. They don't throw to Drake London. The only person on the team that gets playing time is Jonnu Smith at this point, which is the most wild thing ever. Yeah, I'm taking the Cardinals in this game. The Falcons are going to just go on a losing streak. I guarantee it.
I like it.
Facts podcast.
Facts podcast.
All right, next game. We have the Detroit Lions. First, the Chargers.
Sorry, I lost you again. You're like, frozen. Did you say anything important? Probably not. I'm going to
I just said the game.
The Los Angeles Chargers because this is an LA sports page that we're on. So, no. That's ESPN. My bad. We're Detroit, baby! Lions! Do you want to?
Yeah, I think it's obvious.
Because let me know if you do. I can provide a legitimate.
I'll take an actual analysis.
Okay. Give me the Lions in an onslaught of 38-10. No real analysis here. We'll cover more on the Lions segment.
Good analysis. I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I have the Detroit Lions in this game. Taking on the Chargers. They're going to win by 30. No doubt about it. Nobody can stop this Lions team besides the Ravens. But nobody can stop this Lions team.
The Ravens were cheap.
There's no stopping this offense. Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to return a punt for a touchdown this week.
Gosh, I forgot he's back.
And Jamison Williams catching a 64-yard touchdown pass this week. Calling it now.
I love it. Do you think they'd take Herman Moore's advice and put him in the slot this week? We can talk about that when we get there.
We'll talk about that when we get there.
Next game.
We got the Washington Commanders versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Dude, just give me the Seahawks. Like, seriously. Commanders just barely won on the road in Foxborough. Now they play a professional football team. The Seahawks, even though I picked the Patriots this week, the Seahawks got murdered last week, and I totally feel their pain because it was by Lamar's girthy Lamar. The Lions bounce back. I think the Seahawks will too. And I still hate the Commanders' name with a passion. Give me the Seahawks.
Yeah, no, I got the Seahawks this week too. No real analysis. You got a Washington team who doesn't even know their name half the time because they're already talking about getting a new one. They've had three names in the last 5 years or whatever it is. They're talking about getting a new one. They don't even know their own identity. Give me the Seahawks by a million.
You don't even know my name.
Next game.
Holy Moses.
We have the Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Giants.
Do you want to hear my pick?
I'd love to hear your pick.
Do you want to hear my pick?
I'm now very worried about what you're about to choose.
I'm taking the Cowboys. Are you kidding me? The Giants are terrible. They lost to Aiden freaking O'Connell last week in the Raiders with zero head coach, zero offensive coordinator, half a quarterback. You got, not only you lost, you got bullied. You got embarrassed. You were the laughing stock of the NFL last week. 30-6 to the Raiders. The Raiders didn't have Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell beat you. And so did Max Crosby. He was insane. But seriously, dude? I miss you, Max Crosby, by the way. I wish you were a Detroit Lion. You want me to take the Giants? Yeah, okay. Not happening. Cowboys.
Well, I love your analysis, but let me tell you something.
Oh, God.
Saquon Barkley is about to have the best game of his career. And the New York Giants are beating the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Might be the worst take of the NFL season by anybody ever covering sports. But I got the New York Giants going into Dallas, beating the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm going to see Tim the Tap Man and every other Dallas Cowboys fan get depressed this weekend. Because screw the Dallas Cowboys.
The only reason I'd pick the Giants is so I can see Stephen A. Smith's TikTok Sunday night of...
Yeah. No. So, yeah. Taking the Giants in this game.
You know what's sad, though?
Bye, Mel.
There's this little sliver inside of me, somewhere, God knows where it is, that just wants me to take the Giants, but I can't.
You already chose.
Do you know how much of an idiot you'd feel like if they just got absolutely demolished like they're supposed to be? But
I don't... Either way, my pick is wrong, because if they win, I still picked wrong, because there's no way in hell the New York Giants should be winning. But if they lose, I'm wrong in the standings. So either way, I'm wrong.
True. All right. Next
game. We got the Jets versus the Raiders.
No. I'll go. Do you want... I'm taking the New York Jets. Because this is a wild reason. Because it's Sunday Night Football prime time in Las Vegas. That seems so sketchy to me. And Aiden O'Connell's going to get welcomed to the NFL by a real defense, not the Giants defense or whatever you call that. Also, there's no way NFL script lets Vegas team win in Vegas on prime time. They lose way too much money. Give me the Jets.
I have Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders beating the New York Jets and Zach Wilson, who can't throw a football. Aiden O'Connell's going to go out there, put on a master class. Sauce Gardner isn't going to even know where he is on the field. He's going to be lost. Devontae Adams about to cook him.
Oh, that's going to be a good matchup.
I got the Raiders. Give it to me. Undefeated this week in picks. Let's go. Next game, last game of the week, we got the Bills versus the Broncos.
You're not even going to let me talk about your pick. No, that's fine.
Nope.
Okay, that's fair. Give me the Bills. It's Bills home in prime time. Always ride the Bills home in prime time because Buffalo goes stupid, especially when facing a literal poverty opponent in the Broncos. Like, dude, what? The thing is I'll bet against them, and then they'll probably score like 50 points this week, and Russell Wilson will look like 2015 Seattle Russell Wilson again, or 2017. But give me the Bills at home in primetime. Broncos country, shut up.
Yeah, no, I got the Bills too this week. If the Broncos win this game, I'd be very surprised. The Broncos are the worst team in the NFL by far. Okay, maybe not by far. I don't even think they're the worst. But give me the Bills by 1 million on primetime at home. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Those are our picks for the week. We'll look to see how much more ahead I am next week. But till then, we'll have to watch some football this weekend.
Just wait until the Giants beat the Cowboys this week.
All right. Moving on.
If the Giants beat the Cowboys, I automatically win pick'ems.
If the Giants beat the Cowboys, I think they will have the Cowboys fans will have passed my level of depressiveness than me watching the Pistons right now. You like that segue? I love it. Pistons. Holy Moses, dude. What is going on, bro? My high school team can beat the Pistons right now. We miss our guys so bad. That's just my takeaway from the last 2 games. We miss our bench guys, some of our starters. I mean, we're on our last 6. I'm starting to think that when I say something is like promising, it just all goes to crap. I think that's what's happening because we were 2-1, and I was like optimistic. I was like, dude, let's go 2-2 or 3-1 this week against Western. 0-4. Let's just bounce back this week. You know, like we got this. 0-2. Now we're 0-6, which is awesome. Started 2-1. Now we're 2-7. We really need Alec Burks back. We really need Bogdanovich back, like badly, or the season's gonna be over in like the next 2 weeks. Alec Burks averaged 15 points per game before his forearm contusion. Like, are we just making up words now? That was second on the Pistons before he left. He also was first in three-point percentage with 538 three-point percentage before he left, which is unreal. Obviously not sustainable, but something close to that would be unreal for him the full season, and I think he can do it. Did you watch the game at all last night?
I watched it a little, but not much. I was more paying attention to the box score, but
that's fair.
Yeah,
it's sickening to watch, actually.
Yeah, I can't watch this team.
So last night we lost 120 to 118 to the Milwaukee Bucks. Cade had 33 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Marcus Sasser with 26 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Asar Thompson 15 boards. Like, okay. Jalen Duren 11 points, 12 boards. He had an insane first quarter. I think he had 9 points in the first quarter. Obviously 2 after that. And our bi-weekly Killian Hayes update on how terrible of a shooter he is. 0 for 3 from 3-point range. So add that to the list of awesome. The Pistons led in so many categories this game, like rebounds, time of possession, bunch of stuff. But like we still lost. And it just comes down to just a lack of being able to finish a game. Like put the ball in someone's hand and have them like do something effective. Like Cade Cunningham is just not there yet. He's not there. We can't be relying on him to just score all the time. Like he's not a Damian Lillard. He's not a Giannis. He's not even like a Devin Booker yet. He's not there yet. Someday I think he will be because he does show flashes of it. But right now he's still so young. We can't trust him with that yet. Pistons led so many categories. However, the Bucks did go on a 19-2 run in the second. And then I think they also ended the game on a 19-5 run.
Yeah.
Which those two, I mean, like you get rid of one of those and we win. That's the thing, is you just minimize one of those, cut them in half even, and you win. It's too bad. The Detroit Pistons did win the third quarter by 15 points. I do sort of attribute that to Giannis getting ejected because he dunked on Isaiah Stewart's soul and then flexed on him and got ejected. I think it was Isaiah Stewart. I'm pretty sure it was. Following that, the Bucks were kind of lost as expected. They've been relying on Giannis for multiple years now, and the Pistons did take advantage of that 15-point run there, or a 15-point lead there in the third. However, come fourth quarter, again, like I said, too reliant on Cade late in games. He's just not that guy yet. What do you think?
Yeah, we're too reliant on Cade, I think. I think we have a team that can win games. I really do. But it's just the turnovers that we're having and these runs that we're letting teams go on are killing us. At 6 minutes to go in the game, we were up 10 points. From then, the Bucks went on a 19-7 run in the last 6 minutes of the game, I believe it was. So yeah,
can't do that.
We struggled at the end of the game.
Can't do that. And obviously, we don't really have a sized guy to keep up with Giannis, but then again, no one really does. Jalen Duren's a little too small, and I don't know if he's quick enough, honestly, but maybe someday. I don't know, just not right now. And that's a tough matchup for us also with trying to keep up with Dame too. We just don't have that kind of talent just yet. It's just going to take time, but eventually we'll get there. Other Pistons news, we just added Kevin Knox back to the roster. He's a 6'7", 250-pound wing, 215-pound wing from Kentucky. We had him last year for a half season. He played last year, averaged 5.6 points, 2.6 rebounds, and 0.3 assists on 14 minutes of time per game. I'm not expecting that much, literally probably just to give Ausar Thompson a little breather because they're very comparable in that aspect of like being a bigger wing or a physical wing like that. I think it's just literally to give Ausar Thompson a breather. Speaking of Thompson, unless you have a comment on that. If not, I'm going to move on to Thompson.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Kevin Knox, I don't think he's going to do too much for the Pistons. I think it's literally just to give players on our team breathers with the injuries we have right now and the people we have out.
For sure. So speaking of Thompson, I want to talk plus minus with you. Do you know what plus minus is? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I know what plus minus is.
So plus minus is, for those people who don't know, it's basically when you're in the game, what's like the point differential. So like if you sub into the game, you hit a layup real quick and you get subbed out, that's +2. If you get subbed in and you give up a 3 and then you come right out, that's -3. Put those together for one game, it's -1. You kind of get the gist, right? So the Pistons leader in plus minus is Alec Burks with +47. Like I said, we need Alec Burks back real bad. And until then, we're going to struggle a lot, I think. But do you know who the Pistons' worst plus minus is? I found this to be very interesting.
No, I do not. I have not looked at. I know I've seen Cade have some very low games. I'm assuming it's going to be one of our starters because of how much we've been behind in a lot of games. But yeah, I've seen Cade have a lot of low games. I've seen Duren have a couple low games, but I do not know who it is.
It's actually Ausar Thompson with -52. And I look at that and I think, why is Ausar so low? Well, number one, you look at his matchups. He's playing a lot of minutes against the toughest guys to guard when their star players in, when the KD's in, when the Giannis is in. Asar's always in, trying to guard him. And I think he's actually done an okay job for a rookie. Obviously, if this was a 28, 29-year-old guy, I'd expect a little bit more out of him. KD did have that 41-point game. Giannis kind of bullied us until he got ejected and stuff. But I do think that he's had actually pretty decent effect on the Pistons. So it's hard to look at plus minus so early in the season, especially a starter who's at such a minus. I do expect that to go up. I do expect him to rise a lot. I think a lot of it just has to do with small sample size, and I'm really not too worried about it. I think from the seeing eye test, for me watching Pistons game, he is one of the only guys I'm excited to see on the floor. Like, when he comes in, I get excited a little bit. I'm like, okay, we got something going here. We got some defense here. We got a little slashing guy who can maybe pop a three once in a while. Dude's going to work, and I love watching him. But he does have a low plus minus. Does that concern you at all?
No, it doesn't concern me, just because we've been trailing in a lot of games this year, and our starters have been in a while trying to come back, and it's not like plus minus is a stat where, like, when you're on the floor, but you also got 4 other guys on the floor with you that
Correct.
are affecting the same stat. So I'm not too worried about the plus minus, because I know there's been good teams out there, and their starters, 2 of their starters will have low plus minuses. They'll be in the negatives, even though they have a very good record. So plus minus is a stat that I don't really look at that often, just because it's tough to say if a player is bad off of a plus minus score.
Yeah, I do agree. Now, you just mentioned having a good record affects individual stats. Speaking of a good record, tell me about Red Wings, baby.
So the Detroit Red Wings this week, so far, from filming this podcast, have played 1 game against the New York Rangers. We have a game tonight, which will be when you're watching last night on Thursday. But some key takeaways from the Rangers game for me. It was a difficult night for Ville Husso in the goal. He faced a 3.4 expected goal and conceded 5 goals for a negative 1.53 goal saved above expected. Very tough night.
Below average. Or below
he played
expected.
Below average. Yeah, he played below expected. One thing I saw too is that Ville Husso in the first period, it was a shot on goal, and according to like stats and metrics and however they figure some of this stuff out, it had a 1.1% chance of going into the net. So Ville Husso had a 98.9% chance to save this puck. And they ended up scoring off of this.
Yikes.
I don't know how that stat's measured. I really don't. But that's what I saw. But going away from our goalie, I got the top line of Alex DeBrincat, Dylan Larkin, and Lucas Raymond. Played 9 minutes and 25 seconds total together on 5-on-5. In that time, they posted a .496 expected goals for, and against they posted a .34 with an impressive 59% share of the expected goals. So they played better than what the line against them did. Mm-hmm. They did not give up a single goal, but they also didn't score any. But that line definitely played the best, which you expect them to play the best because they are the top line.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, sorry, they did not play the best. The next line I'm going to talk about played the best. Forgot about this line, which was the 4th line.
We've been talking about the 4th line a lot this year.
Yeah, the trio of Klim Kostin, Michael Rasmussen, and Christian Fischer was dominant. In 8 minutes together on 5-on-5, they created a .42 expected goal for a compared .2 against that the Rangers had. It was 68% of the share on ice expected goal. And they scored 2 goals on this line. They scored 2 out of the 3 Red Wings goals on this line.
That's impressive.
They've been playing very, very well this year. That fourth line, I've really enjoyed watching them. I love Michael Rasmussen. I think there's a chance that he gets bumped up here soon to third line. But when that line's being that dominant, I don't think they switch anything in it.
Mm-hmm.
And they honestly might move just that entire line up to like our third line and move the third line down to fourth. But do whatever's working, honestly, in my opinion. And I don't know. I really like this fourth line of this Red Wings team. So, and then the next thing we got. The line of Robbie Fabry, who played in his first game back from his injury.
Congrats.
Daniel Sprong and Joe Veleno. Played 12 minutes and 40 seconds on 5-on-5 and had a .04 or .08 expected goals for and a .586 expected goals against.
Holy
It was
moly.
by far the worst line of the night for the Red Wings.
And they played the most. I was going to ask you about that. Why is our top line only playing 9 minutes together? Like, that just feels low.
A lot of top lines, I don't know what it depends on really. And the thing about it is a lot of top lines will be in for like the power play opportunities and stuff.
Oh, true.
And so
yeah, that's true.
And that is based on 5-on-5 stats.
Mm-hmm.
So like if the Red Wings are shorthanded, that it doesn't count that time on ice, and if the Red Wings are on a power play, it doesn't count that time on the ice. It's only these stats are only 5-on-5. So going defensively now. Jeff Petrie and Ben Sherratt played 12-19 together on 5-on-5. They were at 42.4% share of the on-ice expected goal. That was the best pairing. That was the best any pairing for the Red Wings had fared that entire game. And then Jake Wallman and Mo Sider earned a 22.1% expected goal share in 12 minutes and 9 seconds. While Shane Gostisbehere and Ali Mata put up a 37.2% expected goal in 11 minutes. So by far best line defensively was Jeff Petrie and Ben Sherratt.
Which is third.
And then worst was actually Mo Sider and Shane Gostisbehere, who have been 2 of our best
Mo
defenders
Sider and
this
Jake
year.
Wallman, you mean?
Yes, sorry. Mo Sider and Jake Wallman. Read that wrong. My bad. But one thing I want to talk about is on the defensive side. The Red Wings, the last 2 games, have had their 2 worst defensive performances. And it's when Justin Hall has been out of the lineup.
Yeah, that's expected, I guess.
But should one player impact it that much where you have your worst two nights?
I
understand we played a Rangers team who was very, very good and is 5-0-3 against the Red Wings at home in the last 8 games. But I just didn't expect one guy to make that big of a difference.
Yeah, you got like Hall. He kind of comes in and he just kind of does his job, and he's not a big name, right? But I think when you take away like someone's consistency, someone that people rely on, depend on, that they don't necessarily know they do, it can kind of screw everything up, and it mixes up lines and it does a bunch of stuff. I would expect it for one performance. The second one, I would expect us to adjust a little bit, and it doesn't look like we did super or did a lot. So I look for us to kind of figure that out. I don't know how long he's out, but we got to figure it out, because we talked about this last week where we want to see this defense step up a little bit. And, there were some goalie issues, obviously, like we just talked about. But even then, like, you could tell, like, the offense is playing even a little bit more defensive than they have been in those metrics of percent goals expected and stuff. That's lower than what they've been. So I do expect the defense to kind of bounce back. I hope, and we've been talking about that where we need to see them bounce back. We need to see them excel, and it's got to happen sooner rather than later, or we're going to start doing what we did last year. We're come out to the hot start and then just fade to 500 and then fade lower than 500, and then we just feel numb inside.
Yeah, no. It is starting to look like me that we're going to do what we did last year, which I really hope it doesn't. I hope we're at least above 500 at the end of the season, obviously. But get on this hot start fading down to 500, be at 500 for a while, and then we just tanked underneath that line. I'm really hoping, even if we sit at 500 for a while, I'm hoping instead of tanking under that line at the end of the season, we just shoot above that line at the end of the season and hit a wild card spot in the playoffs.
There we go.
So, some of my other takeaways from the Red Wings night. The third period looked very good. We gave up no goals and we scored 3.
Which has been the case, I feel like.
Yes, I feel like our third periods this year have been very, very good. I think we've scored like 3+ goals in the last like 2 or 3 games in the third period. I think it's the last 2. But other things to talk about, we only had 6 penalty minutes again, while the Rangers had 12. But in those 6 penalty minutes, the Rangers had 2 power play goals. And in the 12 minutes of power play we had 0 goals. And one was a 5-on-3 early in the game.
Ooh.
Not being able to score on a 5-on-3 or at least one of those power plays ruins that. And we have one of the best power play percentages in the league. Probably not anymore. But we had one of the best power play percentages in the league. What are your thoughts on that power play?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It shouldn't affect too much of the offense, but I don't know if Hull affected that a lot either. I think with hockey, it's pretty interesting how much an injury can really affect like the motion and the flow of hockey, because it's so like whimsical and also like gritty. Like it's interesting. Like for those of you who like don't really watch hockey, just sit down one night and watch it, and it's very interesting to see like the strategies behind it. You can be like, oh my gosh, why'd they just dump the puck to the back of the whatever to the back of the ice? And well, it's because they're line switching and stuff like that. They don't see an advantage, so they're going to switch lines, going to get fresh guys in there. Like it's so interesting to see how like players in hockey move and stuff, and one player to throw that off by either not being there or messing something up can just throw a whole wrench in your whole kind of consistency. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that has some effect of it. I do think that we have one of the best offensive power play units in the league. Just like we have one of the best offensive first lines in the league. So like you obviously expect that too for power play. I think this was just a fluke. I really do. I think we kind of realized, hey, we got stuff to work on still. So I think that's going to be good in the long run.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's pretty much all I really have on the Red Wings. Just some other things were like, we only had 9 total hits. The Rangers had 21. Oh, and then this was a key thing that I forgot about that I added right at the end. The Red Wings had 2 takeaways and 7 giveaways last night against the Rangers, while the Rangers had 11 takeaways, but 10 giveaways. So the Rangers had 9 more takeaways than us, but 3 less giveaways. But it still means that we turned the puck over a lot more than the Rangers did last night, which I think that obviously really affected it. But I think also that could have something to do with different lines being in and different players now playing with other players. And it does really affect the game of hockey, because there's like, you'll see better players sometimes on the second line, but that's just because the first line players play better together than what like the one star does with the other star.
Yeah, for sure.
Like hockey's a very interesting sport when it comes to like injuries and how it affects, and also like where you're playing your best players at. Because if you play all your best players in the first, like your first line, your second through four line is not going to have anything.
Yeah, it's not like a starters and bench situation like in basketball, because the thing about lines is they're getting like pretty much equal time on the floor on the ice, and so like you got to kind of balance it a little bit. And I actually wouldn't hate to see a little bit of a line shift if we start kind of going downhill, kind of balancing a little bit more. Especially with that fourth line, it seems like that's a little bit stacked for a fourth line, which is interesting, and maybe it's a strategy. But I do expect us to bounce back for sure. I don't expect this to be a trend or anything. I think it was just a fluke game. I think we kind of got our butts kicked, and we know what to do now. So I'm not expecting too much.
Yeah, and when you think about it, this Rangers team is a very, very
They're
good
solid.
team.
They're a solid team.
They're one of the best in the NHL right now, so can't be too mad at it. But it still sucks to see a struggle like this.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, lastly, Red Wings play the 5-5-2 Canadians Thursday night, and they play the 4-5-3 Blue Jackets Saturday night. I expect us to win both these games. I really think we can take both these games.
Should be 2 W's.
But I would still be happy with a 1-1. If we go 0-2, throw out the season. But yeah. That's what I got on the Red Wings so far this week.
That's the Red Wings, folks. On to the Motown Madness Players of the Week, baby. Once a week, we dedicate one of our segments to the pod to kind of shout out and highlight a past and present player of the week in Detroit sports. Ben's got the present this week. I have the past. Let's start with the present.
The present this week, I took Marcus Sasser, who is coming off the bench right now. In his last 3 games, he's averaging 18.3 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists on a 53.5 field goal percentage and a 44.4 3-point percentage. And that's accounting for his tough game versus the Warriors, which was 7 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists in a 1-for-5 3-point shooting performance. If you remove that game from the last 3, he would be averaging 24, 4.5, and 3 with a 54% from 3-point.
It is kind of nice to see. I feel like he's kind of taken over that 6-man spot a little bit now that Burks is gone. I like when he's in the game. I like having these young guys that can show out. Like him and Asar have been unbelievable to me this year. I'm so excited to see what they've done. But yeah, Marcus Sasser, have yourself a week, buddy.
I mean, you say you like these young guys showing out, but Killian Hayes is pretty young. He was drafted 7th pick in 2020 over guys like Tyrese Halliburton. So do you like watching Killian Hayes on the floor? Because he's a young guy?
I love it, man. He's my favorite. He's my Piston, bro. I freaking love it.
Okay, so yeah, that's it's just a question I wanted to ask.
Why you make me
will you take us on?
Episode?
Last week was Max Clark. This week is Killian Hayes.
Oh
that's just what I do.
Why did you?
It's what I'm good at.
Why did you have to say his name? Oh my gosh! Now I'm triggered.
All right, Caleb. Will you take us on to the past Motown Player of the Week? Motown Madness Player of the Week.
The past Motown Madness Player of the Week is Tayshaun Prince, baby. 6'9" small forward. Played for the Pistons early in his career. He's a one-time NBA champion. Shout out the 04 team. 4-time All-Defense second team. One-time gold medal winner in 2008 with the Redeem team. Have you ever seen that documentary on Netflix?
I honestly don't think I've watched that documentary on Netflix.
Oh my gosh, you have to watch it. It's so sick. It's like half Redeem team, half Kobe documentary. Oh my gosh, it's so sick. Tayshaun makes some appearances, so shout out Tayshaun. He played 12 seasons with the Pistons. His rookie year, he averaged 10.4 minutes, 42 games played. Fun fact, however, I don't know if this is actually true or not, but I'm pretty sure. Well, I know that he did this. I don't know if he's the only player now, but he was the only player in NBA history to have more playoff points in one season than regular season points. Isn't that crazy? So what
That's
happened
insane.
was the Pistons were losing in one of the, I think it was like I don't think it was the conference finals, but it was the divisional before that. And they were losing like 3-1 or whatever, or 2-0 or something. And the coach was like, Rick Carlisle was like, dude, we got to like throw somebody else in there. So they gave Tayshaun a bunch of minutes and he went crazy. And he only had like 120 or something points in the regular season and ended up racking over 170 in the playoffs, which is wild. And I don't think anyone else has ever done that since then. Like, I can't think of a scenario in my head where that would be the case. But in those 12 years, he averaged 12.6 points per game, 2.4 assists, 4.3 rebounds, 0.5 blocks, 0.6 steals. You might say, Caleb, those stats are not good. They're just not elite, whatever. Why would you care? Well, let me just throw these numbers out at you. 364, 437, 646, 312, and 506. From 2003 to 2008, those were his plus minuses. Those were all pluses. It was big. He's profitable to have on the court. It's effective that he's on the court, and he helped that 04 team win. Now that doesn't rank him first in every season in plus minus. I mean, Chauncey was ahead of him. Rick Hamilton was ahead of him. Ben Wallace was ahead of him sometimes, but there were some years.
Take us back.
We'll talk about that.
Take us back.
I'll talk about them in a second more. But you know what else he does? How many games are in a regular season, NBA?
82.
Tayshaun Prince played 82 games for 6 straight seasons with the Pistons, from 03 to 09. That's how many games he played each season. He didn't.
That's insane.
None of this. I'm gonna rest BS. He just went out there and grinded like a dog. Solid player for Detroit for a long time. We wouldn't have made it to those 6 straight Eastern Conference finals without him. Take me back. He had that insane block in Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals in 2004 against Reggie Miller to tie the series. Reggie got the ball stolen. They outlet it to him. Tayshaun came out of nowhere, pretty much saved the game. They were up 2 at that point. Rick Hamilton got a ball back and ended up making free throws. Ended up winning 72-67 that game. 72-67 is the final score.
God, it's so low compared to the NBA now.
They actually won Game 6 of that series, which was the final game of that series. 69-65. That's legitimately half of what it is now.
Oh, yeah.
That's unreal.
You think it's got something to do with the refs and the amount of free throws teams get per game?
I don't know. I have to look at free throw stats, but I think it has to do with a little bit. You kind of used to just be able to punch people in the face back in these days.
Yep.
But you can't really do that anymore, so. But there's just so much more defense being played. There's so much more like work ethic and grit when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. And I was watching actually the end of that game just to like look at Tayshaun, watch him play and stuff, and like it's crazy. Like getting a bucket in the last 5 minutes of the game is huge. Like huge.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool to see, pretty fun to watch that era again, and I do miss it a little bit.
A little?
I miss winning.
Yeah. Now let's talk about a winning team. Speaking of winning, Michigan football plays this week on Saturday. Michigan is ranked number 3 in college football playoff, and they play Penn State, who is ranked number 10 in the college football playoff. They play Saturday at noon. Penn State is easily the best ranked defense that Michigan has played so far this season.
For sure. Probably best ranked too.
Yeah, probably the best ranked offense we've played too, easily. I expect J.J. McCarthy to have himself a game, but I don't expect it to be like a. Who have we played this year? Name a
400-yard, 5-touchdown game.
Name a Division III school. I don't expect it to be like the first game of the season. I don't expect it to be as bad as that Bowling Green game, though, because that Bowling Green game was horrendous by J.J. McCarthy, in my opinion.
We learned.
But, yes. Speaking about Michigan and Penn State, Michigan gives 40.6 points per game. We give up only 6.6. Penn State gets 40.2 points per game, gives up 11.8.
Get wrecked, Penn State.
So we score about the same, but Penn State gives up more. Penn State has played Ohio State this year.
We don't have to talk about that.
Michigan has played
Bowling Green. They're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Michigan
State, that's a huge rival.
They just beat Nebraska. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, dude. Nebraska's a team, too. Michigan State, come back. Not really. Screw them. So, Michigan's yards per play is 6.8.
Got to get that up one
offensively.
0.1.
Get it to 6.9.
Yeah, that'd be lit.
That's the goal this week.
Let's do it.
And 4.2 against. So pretty good.
That's good.
Penn State averages 5.2 yards per play, while giving up 4 yards per play.
Their defense is a little bit better.
Their defense is a little bit better than
yards,
Michigan,
but not in
terms of yards. Yes.
Interesting. They did play Iowa, so that's helpful.
Yeah. So going into some of like yards per game and some of like our third down rates and stuff like that, Michigan averages 257 passing yards per game. We give up 141. So very, very good. If you have watched Michigan at all this year too, you will know that J.J. McCarthy have played 1 fourth quarter so far this year, if not 2. So yeah, it's kind of. I feel like that stat is kind of deflated, even though but then you look at it and we've played high schools.
For sure.
But Penn State is 220 passing yards per game, while giving up 175. So they throw less yards per game than Michigan, and they give up more than Michigan. Very, very, very good when you're speaking about this statistically.
So far,
very good look
great
for Michigan so far. Going on to rushing yards. U of M has 167 rushing yards per game, and we give up 90. So pretty good. Penn State, on the other hand, 173 rushing yards per game, while giving up 58.
Wow.
So looking at the rushing yards, this is going to be a very even game, in my opinion, when you look at rushing and passing yards. So then, going on to the third down rate. U of M has 55.56% third down rate. Converting on third down over 50% of the time for any team in college or NFL is very good. It's insane. I was looking at stats earlier. J.J. McCarthy on 3rd and 7+ is 22 for 25, I believe, for 21 first downs and 4 touchdowns, with a 213.9 QB rate.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So J.J. McCarthy on third down, I expect those stats to go down just a little bit against the Penn State defense.
You're right, because we're not going to get any third downs.
Exactly. But Penn State, they convert 41.9% of the time, and they're very even with Michigan about giving up 29.5. Michigan gives up 29.4% of the third downs. Penn State gives up 29.5. So they're very even defensively on the third down side of the ball. One thing is turnovers. Michigan has a total of 12 interceptions and
defensively.
Step wrong. Yes, defensively. They've thrown for 4. They've thrown 4. We have wait, I might have these stats wrong, so I might not. So fumbles, I have it for 2 lost, and we have 7 fumbles total. I think that's offensively, so I think which would make sense. Yeah, so never mind. I got these right. So we've lost 2 fumbles this year. We have fumbled 7 times. We've recovered 3 fumbles, and we've forced 9 total fumbles this year. Pretty good. Penn State, they have 10 interceptions total defensively, and they've thrown 1.
Jeez.
Very
good.
Ball
out, though, so.
They do run the ball a lot. It's a very run-heavy team. They have lost 3 fumbles and have fumbled a total of 9 times. But they have recovered 10 fumbles and have forced 16 total fumbles on the season so far. That's insane. This Penn State team is averaging like 2 forced fumbles per game, which is insane. Michigan is going into this game favored by 4 points on ESPN. I expect a very high passing game from Michigan, and I expect a very high running game from Penn State. But if we do go out, get an early lead against Penn State, I think they will try to pass more against us, which will be good because Michigan's pass defense is better than our run defense, in my opinion.
For sure.
What are your thoughts going into this game?
No, I think the key for Michigan, honestly, is going to be to get out quick, get out early, get ahead, force Penn State to throw the ball a little bit because obviously they're very comfortable running, and we are more comfortable defending the pass. So I do think that we should, try to get out to an early lead. If you have a few good drives planned, let's do those early. If you have some matchups you like that you see, expedite them and use them early. I think that's the key here, is to get out and get ahead and hold the lead. I think that if we can do that, we can expect a low-scoring Michigan win, like you said.
Yeah, so I do expect this game to be low-scoring, but who knows? If we can control the third quarter like we have all year, and we keep this streak up going of not giving up a single point in the third quarter, I think that's where we win the game.
That'd be crazy. I hope we keep that streak up. That'd be so sick.
So, now going on to another winning team in football. Will you take us in to the Detroit Lions, Caleb?
I would love to. Big matchup this week against the Chargers in Los Angeles. Chargers coming off a dominant Monday Night Football performance against the Jets. Guess what? I really don't care. They let up more yards per play, more first downs, more fourth down completions. Their defense looked good, but there were just so many Jets mistakes that, you can't even factor the win in. They didn't play that much better. At the core, the Jets made so many more mistakes. 4 fumbles, 3 of them were lost by the Jets. There were 8 Jets penalties. This was a team that made a lot of mistakes, and that's why they lost the game. I don't expect the Chargers to have dominated as much as they did on the score sheet. They didn't really. They really didn't on the scoreboard. Look at the stats. They really didn't dominate at all. So the Lions are coming off a bye week, looking to tear up the rest of the schedule this year. This is probably one of the toughest games left on the schedule, and we've had a week to prepare for it. 2 weeks technically. Dan and Co had 2 full weeks to prepare, so this should be a W. I don't expect too much of a I don't expect a loss here really at all. I think we win this game pretty handedly. Get into some individual stats. So per pick.6 on Instagram, shout out them, they included a graphic, and that was the lowest passer rating allowed by cornerbacks, minimum 25 targets. Jerry Jacobs is 10th on the list with a 62.4. Now that's solid. That's what we needed to be addressed this offseason. We talked about that. He's done a dang good job improving so far. That whole secondary too. Another graphic by Pick.6 was the lowest passer rating allowed by safeties, minimum 15 targets. Kirby Jacobs is number one. Or Kirby Joseph, not Kirby Jacobs. Kirby Joseph is number one with a 33.8 passer rating allowed. The next closest was 52.9. So it's by a landslide. What are your thoughts?
Complete landslide. I thought our corners, the worst game I saw from our corners, and it wasn't even the Ravens game, it was the Seahawks game. Mm-hmm. Besides that, I think our corners have played very well. First, the Bucks, we held Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, like, very, very good receivers. Raiders, we held Devontae Adams, which kind of wasn't that hard when you got Jimmy Garoppolo throwing you the ball. But like our corners and safeties have been playing so much better than the last year, and I think that's what's honestly has turned the tide in this season. I know last year at the end of the season too, we were turning the tide, but this year especially, having the record that we have now is just insane to see as a Lions fan. It's nice.
Yeah, following the trade deadline, I think Lions fans and those that also claim to be and have hopped on the bandwagon, welcome along. We all need to kind of chillax a little bit. We have it great this year. Like, we're doing so good what we expected to do. I think that we're really, succeeding in a way that we should be. It's not our time yet. I think we need to kind of like look in the mirror and be like, hey, like this is not a team that really can effectively compete with a lot of these teams in the AFC and some of them in the NFC. I think we're still pieces away from putting it all together, whether it's more development or it's, bringing some guys in. I just don't think we're quite ready. It's not going to be a Joe Burrow type Super Bowl like it was for him 2 years ago, where 3 years ago they had one of the worst records in football and then they ended up making the Super Bowl the next year. I don't expect that from us this year. Well, maybe, but we shouldn't really expect it. We shouldn't. We should enjoy it if it comes our way, but I don't think that we should say, oh, this season's a wrap. We didn't make we're a wild card team. We didn't win the division, or we didn't make it to the championship series. I just don't think that that's fair for this team. We just have such a young team. We're trying to fix some of our problems with long-term smart solutions rather than spending a pick and millions on a pass rusher for 9 weeks. Like, I'm okay with the option we made, with the choice we made. We do have James Houston returning to action soon. I know his earliest projected date was the bye week, and obviously that didn't happen, so we're taking it slow, and I don't mind that. But I like the trends that we're going, and I love the steady growth, and I'm so excited that we're building this core to be solid for the next decade of Lions football, not just 2-3 years.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm hoping James Houston comes back soon, but I like us taking it slow because right now, I don't think it's nice to have him, but I don't think we need him right now for like these next couple of games. Mm-hmm. And if we can get him fully healthy before we make a run into the playoffs this year, I love that. Another guy that I've been hearing talks about that could be returning for a playoff push is CJ Gardner-Johnson.
CD Deuce.
Which would be huge. Oh, sorry, CD Deuce. Which would be huge for a playoff push. We'll get more into that, obviously, in later dates, see if it's actually happening. But yeah, I really like this Lions team. I think people are definitely overreacting. Definitely the people I'm hearing say that it would be depressing and we should expect better if the Lions get 12 wins or less this season. If the Lions get 12 wins this season or even 11, I might be the happiest guy on the planet.
Facts. I'll be ecstatic.
But these people that are out there saying 12 wins will not be good for the end of the season. I understand our competition isn't the best end of the season. Still, just 12 wins as a Lion fan, I didn't think I'd ever heard of.
No, I didn't
think I'd ever heard of it. So I'm really happy with this Lions team now, and I think people are moving too fast. And also, thank you for everybody who's hopped on the bandwagon and joined the Detroit Lions fandom.
Yes, welcome aboard. But don't rush us, man. We're building it slow. We're taking time. We've learned to be patient. We've
very
learned
patient.
And we need to exercise it now. Prove that you have patience. And I'm excited for these next years of Lions football, baby. That's going to be it for the episode. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed it. Check out the Red Wings in action Saturday versus the Blue Jackets. Check out the Pistons taking on the 76ers Friday night for their in-season tourney game. That's their first game. Catch them against the Bulls on Sunday evening as well. Check out number 3 ranked Michigan as they play number 10 ranked Penn State in one of the college football's game of the week on Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern, noon. Could have a huge playoff impact. You never know. That's a big game. Lastly, tune in at 4:05 on Sunday to see an absolute slaughter in LA when the Lions prowl on the Chargers. Like, what even is a Charger? Nobody. Whatever. Check us out on IG and TikTok at Motown.Madness. TikTok's going to be posted this weekend. IG posts are daily. Remember to like and subscribe for future content. That is it for us, Benji. Anything else?
There's one thing, and one thing I only want to say.
God, I can't imagine. If he says go Giants,
it is.
If he says go Giants, if he says
go Giants. No.
And
it is.
Record.
Aiden Hutchinson, you will see, get 3 sacks on Justin Herbert this week.
Oh, okay.
And, sorry, one more thing to say.
Oh, one more thing. Okay.
Let's watch Gardner Minshew and his mustache.
Where's the end record?
Destroy
Where's the end
the Patriots.
Why did you have
in Germany this weekend? Because you got to add the mustache. His great mustache in Germany, destroy the Patriots.
That is it for us. We are going to be canceled. We are out of here. Peace.
Peace.